Welcome to Westcountry Wanderings and welcome to a county, I use that in inverted commas, that we've not yet covered here on the channel. You'd probably be surprised to hear that. I'm currently in the town of Poole, which once was in the County of Hampshire and later became part of the County of Dorset. But in 2019 it kind of moved together with the neighbouring towns of Bournemouth and Christchurch into a unitary authority called BCP. Yeah, it's not the best of names, is it, that BCP? So that's unitary authority there area, although Poole itself is still in the ceremonial county of Dorset. I think they should have gone bold with like a new name, maybe Harbourshire or something bold. BCP doesn't really have much of a ring to it, does it? Anyway, Dorset or BCP, it was highly controversial back in 29 when it happened, is the home to the Royal National Lifeboat Institution, which is what I'm outside here at the moment. They had their headquarters here for the whole of England, Wales, and I think it covers Scotland and Northern Ireland, don't they? So you can see they've got harbour patrol here. We have the harbour master and the pilot boats and the Dorset Police, because this base here is also the base for the Dorset Police's Marine Division, because obviously you do get crime on the water as well as on the land. So we've got a great boat there, Dorset Police boat, as well as the harbour master and the pilots there. Now I've just come off the train from where I live in Gloucestershire. I caught a GWR service straight through to Southampton, lovely quiet journey, and then a few minutes wait at Southampton Central, hopped on a South Western Railway electric train to here, to Poole. Really nice journey. That's about 50-55 minutes crossing through the New Forest. So that's a really nice journey here, really nice way to arrive here in Poole. And it's a place I think we're going to have a really nice wander today. We'll see if we can go out to the coast down in the Hamworthy direction, see if we can find a beach there. But before we do that though, let's have a look at the quayside and I'll tell you a bit more about the town and also around the old town and some of the buildings here, which is where the oldest part of the town is. Now Poole is quite a thriving commercial town. Lots of businesses are based here, including I think Ryvita and Lush Cosmetics amongst many others. It's also a centre for finance. Barclays Bank have their regional centre here for the southwest. Over there though is Sunseeker boats. Yeah, you'll need very fat wallet and a healthy bank balance to buy one of those leisure craft, but they're made here, right here in the heart of the town, well adjacent to the port area here. Poole Harbour is actually the biggest harbour in the entirety of Europe, and it's the second biggest natural harbour in the whole of the world. Only Sydney in Australia, long way from here, is bigger. One of the many things you can do here from Poole is catch a boat trips there which go out to Brownsea Island. There are also ferries that take you further south to the Channel Islands. Now, one of the older buildings here, an old town part of Poole, is this. It's the Custom House. Custom House is now no longer used as Custom House, but it's a pub and it dates from the earlier parts of the 19th centuries. However, if you have a wander around the town here, you'll find buildings that are much older, some going back to the 14th and 15th centuries. Now, this here is the town beam. Much older than the building behind it. It's been repaired a few times over the years. I think last time was about 10 years ago. Town beam, what was that for? Well, it was for weighing goods. Of course, this being a busy harbour and indeed port, really important for merchant goods. and it would have been here that the goods would have been weighed, so an appropriate tariff and taxation fees could be levied on the carriers. Now the building behind me, which is now Poole Museum, grand front of it, I took a shot earlier on when the blue sky was out, it's gone in now. This was once the home of BOAC, yes, British Overseas Aviation Company, and they had seaplanes indeed which flew from here, from the port of Poole right over to America in the early 1940s. I'm not sure when the operation finished. I think it was the latter part of the 1940s, but yes, BOAC headquarters for flying boats here in Poole Harbour. This building here is the medieval merchant's house. I think it dates from around 1300. It's now Scaplan's Court and Garden. You can go into it, there's a cafe in there, and as one of those physic gardens where they grow like herbs and plants which can be used for medicinal purposes. But wonderful building here. Old Town is a great place to explore. So you've got the newer part of the town, which you'll find all your traditional high street shops. There's also a shopping centre, I think it's called the Dolphin, which sits the other side of the level crossing gates there. But yeah, it's a great place to wander around, to soak up the atmosphere at this part of Poole, which would have been hustling and bustling, not with tourists as it is today, although there's not too many today because we're here in September now. But it would have been, of course, for the traders, and of course the sailors would have been frequenting places like this, which is the appropriately named Hope and Anchor Inn. This here is Sarum Street, opposite the Hope Rope and Anchor, indeed, not Hope and Anchor, and you can see this was originally a warehouse, and there goods would have been lifted up, there would have been ropes and winch mechanism. Now thankfully it's been restored. It's got the King's Head there, which is a Hall and Wood house, which is a Dorset brewer here, and here is the Antelope from the hotel. The lifeboat station moved to East Quay in 1882. I love the Antelope on the top of it, and a shot of that. You've also got lots of cafes here and a few galleries as well, including that one there called Originals. So it's a great place to wander. It's really, really quiet here at the moment. Obviously we're now coming out of season and the children have gone back to school, and it's a little bit day occasionally showery today, but I'm hoping it's going to brighten up later on as we go on our tour here around the town of Poole. Near this very spot here, which was once the Guildhall prison, back many, many years ago, was when Reverend John Wesley was imprisoned, I think for about 6 months, because of protests he made against the then king. On this spot here, I think it was around about where the road is now, so you need to imagine what it looked like. But yeah, it was the Guildhall prison right here in the heart of Poole, and as I say, the Reverend John Wesley, he was the founder of present day Methodism. As well as the boat trips to the aforementioned Channel Islands on the ferry, and near here to Brownsea Island, you can also do harbour cruises and river trips along the River Wareham up to the town of Wareham. That is some place I have been meaning for some time to cover here on the channel. We will get there eventually, I'm sure. But great place here, great atmosphere. Though it's not seaside itself, it does have some beaches which we'll look at. Now, in terms of the geography of the area, this is, I think I'm right in saying this, the furthest southeast I've been on the channel. Now, the monthly vlog before last, we were in Downton in Wiltshire, which is the most easterly I've been, but I've not yet covered this part of Dorset stroke BCP, whichever way you want to call it, here on the channel before. So it is an urban area. The population of Poole is around about 150,000 people. It has 4 railway stations on the main, what's known as the South Western Main Line, from Waterloo to Weymouth. Frequent service from there. I think there's 2 trains an hour, and I think there's an extra one from here from Poole heading up north towards Winchester as well. And if you combine it with Christchurch and Bournemouth, the population then takes it up to around about 500,000, so around about the same size of the county and city of Bristol. Now, up until a few years ago, the site here known as Dolphin Quays was once home to Poole pottery. Sadly, that closed in the earlier part of this century. I think it was around 2009, 2010 when this new complex was built, now the home of a Tesco and a Paver shopping outlet. Yeah, it's not quite the same, but you may have a piece of Poole pottery at home. Most famously, they did the dolphin, of course, hence why it's called Dolphin Quay, but lots of other designs of pottery and tableware as well, made here in the town of Poole, but sadly now long gone. Now you have these breezer buses which literally will breeze you around the conurbation of Christchurch, Poole and Bournemouth around the coast. Alternatively, you can walk along the South West Coast Path, which skirts around the southern edge of the town. Behind me here is the RNLI's original lifeboat station in Poole, and it's now the home to the RNLI Museum. It's open most days, I think from about 10:30 to 4 o'clock thereabouts, but a wonderful memorial to brave men and ladies that volunteer for the RNLI. The other thing to note that here, or rather in this area here, was on the 6th of June 1944, 80 cutters belonging to the United States Navy left from here for the Normandy landings, and they actually rescued on those wooden cutters some 1,450 men and women. Take a short break in a moment, sit down and enjoy the sunshine now that the sun has come out, and what I'm going to do now is head over in towards part of Poole known as Hamworthy. It's one of the oldest parts, docks down that way, and we'll have a look around there and head down to the beach as well. There are two bridges. One is a lifting bridge, takes you over to Hamworthy. Also there is another one which is the main A350 road, which goes across the newer Twin Sails Bridge, but that is currently closed for road access. I don't know why, but you can see the Twin Sails pinned back. I'll see if I can get a photo of that, so I'll see you after this short break. I've now come round to Hamworthy Park. Apologise if it's a little bit shaky and there's a bit of wind noise because it's blustering up. There's a stiff wind blowing across Poole Harbour from the direction of Brownsea Island, which is just over there. A couple of things of interest in there, particularly if you like my railway series, is that there is a railway track just behind me here. And it was the site of the original Poole railway station here in Hamworthy before the present day line from Southampton, which is what I travelled on today. The line originally from Southampton went via Wimborne Minster and came in kind of around on a crook, if you like, and went into what was then later known as Hamworthy Junction, where the line from Wimborne joined up with a line from Southampton direct. They needed to get in a bridge across part of the harbour in order to do that. So yeah, so it was originally a site of Poole Station, and it's now, there is still a station here, simply called Hamworthy. So I'm in the wonderful park here, which is right next to this magnificent harbour. Now I do hope to visit Brownsea Island on a future video, perhaps next spring. There are lots of boat trips going out there, and it looks really popular as well. It's owned and looked after by the National Trust, and I think a section of it is also managed and maintained by the Dorset Wildlife Trust as a separate area for, obviously, for bird life and that sort of thing. And I seem to remember last time I was there, probably about 8 years ago, that the castle there is owned by John Lewis, yes, as in Waitrose and the department stores, of course, and it's for the exclusive use of their employees, who of course own the company as well, so they can actually holiday here onto Brownsea Island. The main amazing thing about Brownsea Island, well, for me anyway, is the red squirrels. Yes, there are red squirrels on Brownsea Island, just like there are in Northern Ireland and Scotland, the Lake District and the Isle of Wight as well, because of course the grey squirrels, which are now predominantly here, particularly in the Westcountry, it's all you ever see is grey squirrels. They push out the red squirrels because they carry a virus which sadly kills the red squirrels off. So because we've got about a 3/4 mile stretch of water across the island here, they can't get to them, and so the red squirrels are still there. And I managed to get a couple of photographs of them last time I was there, but wonderful to see that, and hopefully we'll be there next year to have a look at Brownsea Island. Just walking through the park here at the moment. Lovely. It's not very busy. Some people, obviously dog walks around, a couple of younger children. There's a cafe over here, so I think I'm going to head for that first. Grab a cup of tea there before we continue on round to the beach. Now, you could describe Poole as the place where things start and end. Well, two things really. The first one, probably the most famously, is the Southwest Coast Path. Not sure whether it starts or ends, whichever. It depends which way direction you're doing. The Southwest Coast has 625 miles, is it, all round the entirety of the area we cover here on Westcountry Wanderings region. So that's why kind of this is the southeasterly point that we cover, although I may well do Christchurch at a later point, perhaps next year. So the Southwest Coast Path ends here in Poole. I've just been trying to find out exactly where it ends because it's not very clear on the Earth's map. I think it's the other side of the harbour, which is the sandbank side, the Spitterland, where you've got all those multi-million pound properties along there. So I think it's somewhere along where it ends, not where we were by the quayside. So I thought there would be a little plinth there, but it'll be a little bit too far for me to walk over that way today. Perhaps we'll do that another time, next time we're here in Dorset stroke BCP. The other thing that starts and ends here in Poole is the Jurassic Coast. Of course, the beginning or end of that, there's at Exmouth there in East Devon, and it runs all the way along the south coast to here, to the town of Poole. Now, I was wondering what this was. It's actually a large paddling pool and play area for children up to the age of 14 years. No water in it at the moment. I expect it was probably being well used during the summer holidays though. Nice to see some sunflowers out here as well. Well, I hope we don't get wet here. The waves are lapping up over the path from the wind, so gusty. I've managed to get my tea. I decided to eat it? No, drink it. Drink it outside. Very pleasant. Very bracing air here. That's what they used to say about, was it Great Yarmouth? It used to be sold by the Great Eastern Railway, wouldn't it? That's how they kind of sold it, but it is very bracing here. One thing I have noticed about Poole, and if you're from this area, you probably pick up on this. Now, obviously, I cover all of the entire wider West Country here on Westcountry Wanderings, from northern Worcestershire right down to the tip of Land's End in Cornwall, though we haven't covered Land's End itself, but we were at Penzance and Newlyn. Now, if you take away the side visitors, there is a commonality to the accent. Although Cornwall sounds different to Devon, Devon sounds different to Somerset, and Gloucestershire and Bristol, there is a common theme to all those accents. They broadly sound West Country. Indeed, even in the rural parts of Herefordshire and Worcestershire, you can still hear a West Country accent. Now, this is purely anecdotally since I've been here in Poole. The accent has predominantly changed. Hamworthy, I think, is mainly for local people. I don't think it gets that many visitors to this part of the town, but it is very interesting. However, notice that the accent has changed a lot. Now, I used to live in Essex, and in there, for example, the word later ending in R would end with a H, so later will become later. And that's the sort of accent I'm picking up predominantly here in Poole, although officially, according to the government, we are still here in the southwest, and of course I do cover this part of the West Country, Dorset, here on the channel, or stroke BCP, whichever one you want to do it. But yeah, it's just not a criticism, it's just what I have observed from listening here while I've been here for the past 3 hours here in the town of Poole. Well, I'm now on Lake Pier Beach, which is also close to Ham Hill Heathland, all the H's. And Heathland is just up there, Shingle Beach here, Poole Harbour behind me there. Another breezy spot. Really, really good here. Nice getting some breath of air as we continue along here. And it's going to be great because we'll be going up there to look at the Heathland in a moment. Now, the interesting thing here, or rather what I forgot to mention at the start of the video, West Pier, where we were at the RNLI, not the old one but the new one, right at the start of the video, that was the site of the last complete, I was going to say excavation, it's where people need to leave their houses, I've forgotten the word for it, but they need to leave their houses, and they had to do that in 1988 because of an explosion from a company I'd never heard of before called the British Drugs House. I think it's now part of the Merrick Group. So it was a chemical factory there where the RNLI is now, and there was an incident there where some chemicals were oxidising and there was a bit of an explosion. They had to evacuate 3,500 people here from the town of Poole. So I'm now on the Heathland Common here at Ham Hill. I think it's just looked after by the local authority, as in BCP, the county that we're in here in Poole. And it's a haven for nature here, lots of gorse. I can't see any of it out in flower at the moment. You can see great big banks of gorse over there, look. The other interesting thing, I went past a lake in a residential area which was all fenced off. There was a boatyard there, and I think it's called Boat Lake, Dorset Boat Lake. And further on round, this huge barbed wire and army there with guns. It doesn't say it's a military installation, but obviously there's something military going on there. I've googled it, I can't find anything, I've no idea what goes on there, so be interested to know if, obviously, if you're in the military, don't break the official secrets out, but just curiosity if you're allowed to say what it is that is there at Dorset Lake, Boat Lake should I say. It looks a huge installation there. An amazing bird up here. Now this here is a white-tailed eagle, which have recently been reintroduced to this part of the south coast here in the West Country Wanderings region. Obviously it's not a real one, but what an incredible piece of wood carving that is. That is absolutely magnificent, and look at the detail of the talons down there. It's actually the UK's biggest and largest bird of prey. I don't think I want to be that close to one. I think it is a life-size carving, but isn't that just absolutely wonderful? The addition of the fossils down below on the stone plinth. I think it's limestone, perhaps it's Portland stone, I'm not sure, but that's obviously there because we are, of course, on the Jurassic coast, even though we're here in a sheltered harbour. Excuse the helicopter going over, but that's the far side of Brownsea Island. Looking down there, obviously at Poole Harbour as well, and I think that little spit of land that sticks out on the left there of the island, that's the bit where they have the Dorset Wildlife Trust Reserve. But say it's an amazing place, and hopefully it's somewhere we will visit in the future here on West Country Wanderings. But I'm enjoying here the Heathland. Wonderful place. Certainly get a breath of fresh air here for sure. There's also a lake here called Hamworthy Lake. We'll go and have a look at that in a moment. So here, a little bit of a windswept location here on the Heathland. As you can see, some of the gorse is out here, and there's some purple heathers there as well, which is always great to see. And that's looking back there at Poole Harbour. And head over to the lake before I head back into town to show you some other bits of the town centre here on the video today. But yeah, I'm enjoying this stretch here. It's a lot quieter here, of course, than in the town centre, but we're still here in Poole. Poole is actually quite a spread out area. Of course, you've got Canford Cliffs. I think there is another railway station there. Is it Parkston, Ramsden? I can't remember this. It's because there's the 4 stations here. There is, as I say, there is still a station here, Hamworthy, as well, if you wish to alight there and come over here that way. Now, following on from the eagle that we saw earlier on, this is a nightjar. Well, I'd be very lucky to see one in the daytime because obviously they're very nocturnal. But isn't that just wonderful? Not quite sure what it's made out of. Is it bronze or perhaps a resin? But still lovely. Lots of detail on it. Well, this is Hamworthy Lake. Apologies for the helicopters going over. I don't know where they're going to that military base in inverted commas because it doesn't advertise it's a military base. So I've no idea what going on. I thought it was going to land on top of my head at one point as it went over the common here. But this is beautiful. It's actually surprisingly difficult to find because there's no obvious paths that take you to the lake like you think there would be in a park of that. But obviously it's more of a nature reserve than that. But lily ponds, or lily pads should I say, out in flowers there. Looks like one of Monet's paintings, apart from the noise ahead. Well, I'm going to turn myself away from Hamworthy Lake here in the western part of the town of Poole and take myself back into the town centre, continue our wander on there before we finish today. So I'll see you right after this break here on the channel. I'm now in Poole Park, which is huge. Over that side of the railway tracks is Parkston Harbour, so that's like the main harbour. Then south of that is Sandbanks. Too much for us today. The footpath going the other side of the railway tracks round to Canford Cliff, all that kind of area where Compton Acres, the gardens are. Unfortunately it's closed because they're doing some flood prevention work. So I'm here making the most of this park here. So you've got this huge lake, and I think this was originally part of the harbour because when the extension railway to Southampton was completed, they put this embankment in here, the tracks to go across. Remember I said about that earlier railway station at Hamworthy, which was originally the station here for Poole. So when that went in, that then meant that it locked off Parkston Harbour from the rest of the harbour here, creating this large artificial lake here in Poole Park. Thinking what we will do is return to Poole another time to explore the beachy part of it, and over there at Sandbanks, going over there into Studland Bay as well. What I'm going to do now is continue to explore the park here, and then rather than walking back into the town centre to catch my train back to Southampton from Poole, I'll get it from Parkston station, because I think most of the trains going to Southampton and London Waterloo stop there as well. So don't need to double back on the walking, because I already did a fair bit of walking as I was walking over to the Ham Hill Nature Reserve there, that heathland at the top there. So but I've probably walked about 6 or 7 miles already around Poole. So Poole is big in terms, because of its natural shape, because I said it's the second biggest natural harbour in the world. That makes it a kind of a big loop, so you're kind of looping back on yourself to get to different places. But if you don't want to do the walking, of course, you have lots of bus services that can take the weight off your feet if you prefer to do that. And from this direction, looking across Poole Park Lake, you can see the town centre there. I'm not sure if that's a large hotel or a conference centre there. And I think the Barclays building is that one over there, somewhere around there, which is their regional offices, which I think opened in possibly the 1980s. But we're heading over to the other side of Poole Park, which will continue our walk around the edge of the lake here. There's actually a painting here by J.M.W. Turner with Corfe Castle in the distance, painted in 1812, showing the landscape of Parkston Bay and Poole Harbour as it was before the arrival of this confounded railway, which is here, which obviously blocks Parkston Harbour today. But obviously that's great. A lot of people can arrive here on the train, reducing the amount of traffic in the town centre. Now, in terms of other videos on my channel that have covered Dorset, this is the first one that's covered BCP though, which is obviously the unitary authority. But I've done several other videos in places Dorset. I've done a couple in the town of Weymouth, done a couple on the Isle of Portland, one looking at Sherborne, another one looking at Bridport, and another one looking at Shaftesbury, as well as another video looking at Dorchester, plus a separate one looking at Dorchester's 2 railway stations. So quite a few. So if you are interested in other places in Dorset and thinking of visiting them, hop over and have a look at my Dorset playlist, and you'll find all of them grouped there. And I do hope to return to this area again. As I say, I do hope to do a separate one on Christchurch here in BCP, as well as looking at other places, particularly places like Wimborne and Blandford Forum as well. And I'd love to do, if I can, possibly one looking at Cranbourne Chase area, which is a beautiful part of Dorset and often gets overlooked. I've stayed on a holiday there a couple of times, but not for some time. So Cranbourne Chase, hopefully that will appear on the channel at some future point. Anyway, hope you're enjoying the wander today here in the town of Poole. Now, what you do have in essence here is 2 separate lakes, apart from the Poole Harbour dividing off the main Parkston Harbour into the sea. So that's the one we were looking at there on the left, and there is another one there on the right hand side. And yes, we have a railway track here, and complete with third rail, just like it is on the main southwestern main line to Weymouth from London Waterloo. That's amazing to see. They don't see that on miniature railways very often. And this is a miniature railway. I think it's open most weekends and at bank holidays too, and possibly during the summer peak, but not today, because we're in September now. Oh, would you know, we got a level crossing coming up here, but no gates on this one. It's an unmanned, ungated level crossing, but I think we'll be safe today. That's it for today here on Westcountry Wanderings from the town of Poole in BCP. Now, I still think it should be called Harbourshire. Please let me know what you think the county should be called here. But of course, it's still in the ceremonial county of Dorset. I think that is because there is a Lord Lieutenant that looks after kind of all of it, the traditional Dorset and this part, more urban part of Dorset. Until next time on the channel, take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, and I'm being attacked now by a load of pigeons. Hope to see you on the channel again very soon. All the best for now. Cheers. Bye bye.